Good morning, viewers. You're welcome to today's breakfast daily newspaper in review here on Idea Television. We have a couple of papers for your breakfast. And my name is Chris, and I have my colleague here.
I'm Paul Olajuwon. Good top of the morning to you. It's a lovely Friday.
Yes, we now delve into the headline papers. And starting with me here is the Tribune newspaper. FG denies signing any agreement with ASU, the Academic Staff Union. The writer describes the document as a draft that's yet to be implemented. The underwriter here set up technical team to fine-tune government proposals. Get this on page 3 of the Tribune newspaper. What do you have again? The headline. Do you have any topic there on the headline?
Okay, still on Nigerian Tribune, we have here that we are under attack. NNPC CEO cries out. Also, oil workers back reforms. Also, another interesting one here is FG targets 1 week passport delivery, vows to end racketeering. I guess that's a very interesting one there from the federal government. Also, on page 30 of the Nigerian Tribune is Abuja Kaduna Road now safe, and that's from a journalist called Reno Macri. It's a very interesting one.
Still here on the Tribune, we have 2027. I am not contesting any position, says El-Rufai. Right on page 4 of the Tribune. Excess crude oil amount now $533,823. With rather NEC orders accelerated reforms. Get this on page 15 of the Tribune.
And also on Tribune on page 5, we have PDP considers Jonathan Obi for 2027 presidency. Bauchi governor confirms this particular claim. Also, we see that on page 3 of Nigerian Tribunes on health, we see that diabetes fuels more aggressive breast cancer, according to studies. That's a nice research done by researchers there. And on page 12 as well, we have Osun public servant Old Solidarity Rally for Adeleke says is empathetic to workers.
Yes. Ibadan Convention, PDP, set to inaugurate Fintiri, Makinde Adeleke, Fubura, Saraki, 105 others as organizing members for their next meeting set to be held in Ibadan. Get this on page 5.
And I guess that's all on the Nigerian Tribune.
Right.
It's a very interesting one to see how, an agreement that was signed by federal government.
Exactly. They're coming to say that it's still in the draft form.
Exactly.
It's quite unfortunate.
Well, it's funny that there's also this saying in the government that agreement is agreement.
Exactly.
Now, federal government seems to be going back on an agreement. And also, they still have the pending 2009 agreement as well, not
yet to be implemented.
Exactly. This government has been known for implementing agreements that have been made.
Without coming concretely to say this is actually what we agreed on.
Exactly.
This is also what we suffered with ASU in the past government, and then entering the same regime. Same thing continues.
Exactly.
Agreement is,
okay, I'm moving on now. Move on to the Daily Times and see what has been said right there on the Daily Times. That's the headline news here is that the Chief of Army Staff raises concern over drug abuse among soldiers in conflict zones, as of page 9 of the Daily Times. Also, we see here that there's battle for mining sites in Ebonyi. Officers gunned down as police civil defense clash in Ebonyi. That's on page 5 of the Daily Times. Also, on page 11 of Daily Times is articles saying that voters registration meaningless without electoral and also judicial reforms.
Actually, there's a need for electoral reforms.
Yes.
We are long overdue. Exactly. Electoral reforms so that we have credibility in our elections. Yes.
In fact, one of the interesting things I also saw this morning is the fact that there's no enough data backing the amount of voters that we have at the moment that INEC should try to review all of this.
Exactly.
And I think that's one of the things that should be done by INEC even before the next
election, exactly.
Because there are some registered voters who might have passed away and things like that.
Some who have moved from one location to the other. Exactly. Yeah.
There have been a lot of migration in the States, and it's very interesting.
So we should continue like this, because I don't know how some of us will be eligible to vote in that exercise. Well, yes.
But the interesting thing is the fact that with PVC, you could always switch your location to switch where you are. You just have to apply on changing your polling unit so that you can vote wherever you may be. And that is very interesting to see, however.
You know why I'm saying that? Because I remember the last election I was at Port Harcourt.
Yeah.
For me, when I moved to Owerri, to get my PVC to Owerri, it was at the dead end that I tried to get it. Even all the movement and see the INEC office just behind our office there in Port Harcourt. If not because I was close, I was able to eventually get it because I was insisted that I must vote. So now I'm in Abuja. I don't know how it's going to be. Am I going to write, and at the end of the day, I'll be disenfranchised in a sense. So that's the problem. So
I guess all of these things should be worked on before 2027 so that we have a free and fair election, as we always do have. Also, on page 6, we have insecurities such as G7 states move to curb rising cross-border criminal networks. Meanwhile, on page 11, we see here that ADC queries INEC over alleged inflated voters registration figure in the Southwest. And also on page 1 of the Daily Times, Nigerians to pay more for passports as Nigerian Immigration Service raises fees to 100,000 and 200,000 for 32 and 64 pages respectively.
You see, this issue of passport is something that is very, very annoying, because it can't begin to tax or inflict financial injuries to citizens through the various means. Passport is not something. I was telling someone yesterday, one of our colleagues here, that this passport is passport I got freely with an UJ passport only. In under 2 weeks, I was able to get passport to Lagos. They were now free without no cash payment. But why now is it raising to 100,000? Are you trying to make Nigerians not to migrate to anywhere again? Because this is not the real time for you to increase passport fee. It's quite uncalled for, but it's unfortunate we are in it.
I mean,
it's not.
It's very interesting to also see the fact that this act has also been defended by the federal government.
Yes, certainly. They will defend it.
It's amazing to see, because it's a whole lot of bumping up, and it's very interesting to see that we're paying more like ×3 or ×4 actually, because I remember getting my 32 pages for about 25,000.
Yes.
And now we're going to pay 4 times more for 32 pages. Yes. Let's move on quickly to the Daily Trust and see what has been said on the Daily Trust quickly. The main headline here says that universities head for strike. It's been in the news all week long, and it's coming again. I think this is more direct as well. And also we see a picture of the Federal Minister of Education handing over a check to one of the winners of the competition that was held in the States. I think that's in the UK, and it's a very lovely development from them. Encouraging the young ones to do better.
Then the government in power must invest in education, our education system.
Exactly.
And it can't, if you have to invest in the education system, you can't put the lecturers aside in doing that.
Exactly.
The education system must be well funded, so that we stop having this to and fro issue of lack of funds.
Well, Tunji Alausa has been one of those performing ministers, and let's see how he's able to turn this around.
Let's hope so.
Also, we see here on page 5 of the Daily Trust, that's over 400,000 Nigerian students at risk of malnutrition this year. That's what report says. Also, we see here that Kwankwaso ACF decries Alabarago market demolition, also on the Daily Trust. And finally, here we see why Barrow Port is still idle 6 years after commissioning. I would love to speak briefly on this particular issue of malnutrition. I mean, malnutrition is one issue that ravages us year in, year out.
Exactly.
And I think as a few months back, there was the Bay report that pointed out that we should be expecting increased numbers in malnutrition. And it's specifically because our foods are not secure, basically. And now we're talking about how to ensure that our food are more secure. Farmers have security. In fact, I do understand that in some parts of the northern Nigeria, farmers don't even go to the farm again because they fear being kidnapped or being killed.
Yeah, because even the bandits are now asking for ransom. For you to even harvest part of your crops, you have to pay ransom to get into your farm and get it harvested. It's not the same thing is cropping into our southwest, southeast now. It's not just in the north again. Yeah. It's going across the entire space of Nigerian space.
Exactly. Well, it's another interesting one is the fact that a port that was commissioned about 6 years ago is yet to be functional, and I guess the reps are currently looking into that and see what exactly is going to happen. Okay, we're going to a quick break now. Once we're back, we'll continue with the newspaper review. My name is Paul. We'll be right back.
Okay. You're welcome.
And you're welcome back. This is still the newspaper review here on Idea TV. My name is Paul, and also with me here is Chris.
You're welcome.
We've tried to look at some of our national dailies, and now we're moving on to the Vanguard. Still, the popular news that is on every newspaper: the federal government also disagrees over agreements. That's a very interesting rhyme there. Also, we see here that Guild of Editors condemn killing of journalists in Gaza. Also, we see here that Dangote Group at Ethiopia signed deal to build a $2.5 billion fertilizer plant there in Ethiopia. And also, we see here that I am under attack. Some people are plotting to unseat me. This is coming from the general CEO of the NNPCL, Ojulari. And also we have here on the main news that opposition party battles INEC over voters' data. And also we see that Amechi rules out stepping down, as also he declares interest in ADC's presidential tickets. Meanwhile, on page 6, we see that DSS files charges against 9 suspects over Benue Plateau killings. And we have on page 12 that court declines to stop Rivers local government polls as police restricts movement. And finally, we have that on page 19, this from Cardoso, saying that diaspora inflow eats about $600 million every month. That's coming from Cardoso, Lufemi Cardoso. I think one good news that we're seeing...
That's the CBN governor, I suppose.
Yes, CBN governor. One good news that we're seeing here is the fact that Dangote is spreading his wings. I think this year, one of the things that Dangote is actually doing is spreading his wing across borders, across Nigeria, and looking at investing outside Nigeria.
Even beyond normal cement production. Exactly. It's going into other areas.
Yes, it's going
that's good.
I mean, it's very lovely to see. And also... just in my head, I'm like, it's nice to see that it's going over across Africa, and also it's going to help in improving trade within Africa. I mean, it's an amazing one that Dangote is doing right there. And also, it's really sad to see that journalists are still being killed in places which are at war, which are raged by war. and it's really sad.
Yes.
It's and also it was condemned by Guild of Journalists. It's really sad to see that.
You know, that has been the problem in Gaza. I think we have lost over 3,000 journalists from the Al Jazeera groups, and many of them. Al Jazeera is mostly hit by that killings. Exactly what happened in Gaza during the war with Israel. So unfortunately, that's why the journalist is more or less a risk venture when it comes to, especially when you are assigned to a war, you are a war correspondent.
Yeah.
It gives you a lot of risk. But that's part of the risk of the job.
I mean, it's part of the risk, but it's also important that we ensure that our journalists are safe so that we hear the right news at the end of the day.
But, you know, actually, there's a UN treaty against killing of journalists.
Yeah.
Trying to work from that is, you know.
I mean, it's usually considered as a war crime, killing of journalists, killing of children, attack on schools, also attack on hospitals as well. All of them are considered as war crime and illegal places to bomb during times of war. But it's just sad to see that as times goes by, we still see things like that happening. I read of a story this morning of a little girl that over 300 bullets was recovered